If you don't know, you're about to know right now. You're about to learn education. What I was saying was, after I wrote this book, the Mouth Book Message of Uplift the Hill, I reflected. It took me a while to reflect on how much this book means to me, how much affirmations mean to me. So when I met Young Hijabi,
Hello.
I feel like something about her exemplifies this book in a
I hope so.
very explicit way. Like it's very to the point.
Thank you.
Like of what I wrote this book for. Message of Up the Hill, and things like that began to appear and make me appreciate this book more. After I wrote it and realized that it is in this word as much as I want it to be. Like Message of Uplift the Hills in this word as much as I want it to be.
Yeah.
And at first it was just a book because I was writing it based on an experience. Just me experiencing writing affirmations every day.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
So, and it led, I feel like this book has led me to see reflections of it more and more and make me appreciate this book more and more. And it's a bunch of philosophical conversations that has everything to do with this. It's a bunch of philosophical phrases, affirmations. Right. And I feel like what the philosophical conversation we was just having has a lot to do with Message of Up at the Hill, and you're going to hear a lot of that in this conversation. So we were having a conversation about knowledge and choice.
Yeah.
But first of all, before we get there, introduce yourself. Tell them who you are. You feel me?
All right. So, hi. My name is Eemaan. Known by my Instagram handle as Young Hijabi or Young Hijabi, whichever you want to pronounce it as. I am a creator. I create art, music, everything. I breathe life into whatever I touch. That is my gift. So, That's me.
Right. Word.
Yeah.
So we appreciate you, and this is someone who has performed in front of me.
Yes.
On many occasions, 2 different performances each occasion.
Yeah.
And I seen Sang.
Very well received, for which I am thankful for. I just want to say.
No doubt. And I've seen Sang do some poetry, and I want to hear some raps.
Hell yes.
Also seen some like motivational speech type vibes too from her, and I appreciate that. So I plan on working with her in the future, and we get some work done.
Yes. You guys are not ready. I'm not ready.
We could do all of that. We could sing, rap, do some poems. We can match that.
Yo.
So.
And we have some business ideas too.
Oh yeah, definitely. We was talking about the healthy cigarettes, and how we could. Matter of fact, we ain't gonna tell y'all exactly what it is just yet.
Don't let them steal it.
But you can see the vibe. You can see where we at. So we plan on
some shit.
Yeah, we plan on applying this vibe of where we at right now.
Major vibes
to the situation.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the healthy cigarettes part 2 coming soon.
Yes.
You feel me? If you don't know what the healthy cigarettes are, I create,
You need
create
Trust
my
me.
own cigarettes, healthy cigarettes. Instead of tobacco, we got chamomile, marshmallow leaf, mugwort, mullein, and spearmint, which are herbs that offer their own benefits, so that you can smoke responsibly. Yeah, let's get to this convo we was having.
Yes.
You feel me? So, what is the difference between, not what is the difference, what trumps? It was a conversation pretty much about habits and choices. Which one wins? You feel me? Because it stemmed from, people know what they want, and we know the power we have, and we know exactly what we need to do in order to achieve. And we all have the ability. We all have our own personal powers, our own personal abilities and talents and ways to maneuver in this world at a high vibe, and get exactly what we want. We all have that in us,
Yes.
but a lot of us don't utilize it. Many of us are
people just
driven by other things and not allowing our, things that's manifested for us to come true, our talents to be exercised, we're not.
And we're not really authentic.
Right. And because of that, when we're not doing our natural talents, we're not, performing at our highest potential, we begin to do things that are kind of, obviously, if we're not doing what we're meant to, we're obviously doing things we're not meant to, so yes, we become a little off.
It kind of fucks up your life.
Yeah, so if you are meant to exercise your talents, which that's what we're here for, we have brains, we need to exercise them so they stay healthy. We need to exercise everything in order for it to stay healthy and 100%. Stay on point. Shooting guard gotta shoot in order to make sure his jump shot stay healthy. Otherwise, it's your rating's gonna go down. You feel me? But a lot of times, people focus on one thing and don't focus on the other. So, for example, if you want to compare your life to like a shooting guard, you might be good at shooting, but your defense sucks. So, a lot of times, we'll focus on something we're good at, but we also are carrying our flaws with us and not working on ourselves as we're growing. So it's not just about staying at the bottom, because a lot of people at the top are unhappy because they haven't been working on certain parts of themselves. And that's a part of life too. When you grow and you get somewhere, it's not just about, growing in money. Sometimes the relationships in your life suck at the time. Sometimes the something negative in your family is going on. Sometimes you going through something personally and you're not dealing with it, and you growing in certain areas, and we need to stay on it.
Stay harnessed.
Yeah,
stay grounded.
Stay ready.
Stay grounded. My number one thing is stay grounded, because honestly, you don't know where life is gonna take you. Life is gonna take you into situations and places that you never would have imagined maybe a year ago, 6 months ago, or even a week ago that would happen. So it's you can't really be prepared for that unless you can deadass just see the future. And I personally can't. So it's I need to know that I'm manifesting the best. I'm doing the best that I can. But I need to understand that, life can take me on a ride if it wants to. If I need to be taught a lesson, I'm gonna learn that lesson. But the thing about it is keeping an open mind and staying grounded and remembering not to let your feelings consume you, especially when it's a dark time. Because when you're going through a dark time, we often we like to feel bad for ourselves. We want other people to feel shitty for us, and we want to be sitting there bro, my life sucks. I just got dumped, bro. It's been 2 months and I'm still talking about it.
Why do you think that is? Because I want to get back to choices and habits.
Habits and choices.
Right, here we go. So,
because we haven't just my thing in general, we have programmed ourselves as a people to speak, and we're comfortable with speaking negatively about ourselves and about others.
On the way here,
programmed ourselves.
It's funny because on the way here, I ran into a person who I went to high school with,
right?
And if that person sees this, I'm not gonna say their sex,
right.
Nothing, because I want to keep it anonymous, as anonymous as I can.
Right.
That person, because you never know. People, I put them on, I do podcasts, I don't know if they're going to tune in. So I ran into this person on the train on the way here on the L, and they was telling me about how they did something really bad last night, and they feel bad for it, and it was just it was the nastiest thing. I don't know why I could have waited. I didn't have to do that. And I'm just yo, I don't know what you did, but forgive yourself.
Yeah.
If you did it in the moment, if you were happy, then I don't know what you're talking about, but if you did it in the moment, you were happy in that moment, but you think, what are you talking about? Like, wake up. I'm like, I forgive myself every day. It's because
Exactly.
there's no point of
there's
doing
no
that.
point of holding yourself to this standard that, yo, I'm just gonna be right all the time. I'm gonna be perfect all the time, because reality is there are 7 point something billion human beings on the face of this planet. And that's just currently who are alive. How many billions have died? How many billions are to come? We're all flawed. We all are learning, we're growing. We all have our own individual worlds and lives. Like, do you understand that we only see shit from our perspective, from our brain? We don't see, I can't hear your thoughts. I wish I could, but I can't literally hear them. I could feel it maybe. I could feel it out. Maybe that's my gift. But to a point where I can't read you. So we're all living in our own world. So like, it's mad. Wow, Siri does not get it. She's just like, she's not with the shit. She's like, it's too conscious for me. But if you can't just be like, you have to understand that you're living in your bubble, but that bubble means everything and also like nothing. So you can't be that hard on yourself. You can't hold yourself up to the standard of like fucking Jesus or Gandhi or Nelson Mandela or Barack Obama unless you're ready and you're at that point. Then yes, go for it. But if you're, let's be honest, an average Joe like you and me, who we're taking the train and we're taking Ubers and we're chilling in coffee shops, like, if you're the average person,
Netflix.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's what and there's nothing wrong with that, but that's the majority of civilization. The 1% is the 1% for a reason. So we need to understand that we all have these struggles. Even the 1% in their own like weird, fucked up, like their stresses of life, they have them. So we're all going through that. So there's no reason for us to be like, bro, like, yes, you could have done better, but you did what you did. So do better next time. And that's about it.
So,
choice.
So you going with choice?
It's a choice.
Choice over habit?
Choice over habit. Because at the end of the day, even the choice to continue that habit or to break that habit or to just ignore that habit, acknowledge it, not anything, it all boils down to choice. I go with
habit. Let me tell you why I go with habit. Because I like this. I'm gonna tell you.
He's a devil's advocate.
No, because I think everything you're saying proves my point, and I want you to focus on choice. Choice is a one-time thing, and this is good, because there's no right or wrong, but I'm right. You could be right too if you claim it. I can't tell you you're right.
Of course.
But I could tell you I'm right? So I feel like habit because, first of all, I want to tell you what this person did.
Okay.
That was the thing that they're upset with today. They masturbated. And I'm like, and I'm like, why are you upset? But they're like, what they're pretty much saying is that they're a Christian, and they think God is gonna
punish them for
look down on them in a certain way. And that's what they were saying to me, like, I don't want God to, and I'm just like, it's not that serious. It's not that serious. Like, I told them, treat yourself. As a man, I'm like, yo, as a man, treat yourself. Like, you could be expressing that energy in a different way.
Yes.
And that's negative. Instead of you treating yourself, you could be out there doing something with somebody that don't deserve it.
Yep.
Or that you don't deserve. Yep. So.
But at the same time, another thing I want to say this only because, like, I feel like I have a right to say it because I have learned a lot of, like, just accumulated a lot of knowledge about it for some reason. And I have heard and have researched and I have found that spiritual communities, scientific communities, religion, no, I don't really want to get into it, but spiritual and scientific communities both agree upon the idea of retention and holding back. because in the long run, like, yes, you can, if you need to exchange sexual energy with someone and, you know, you believe, like, yo, this person is valid, like, there's pure energy here, it's out of love, it's not coming out of lust, it's not from a dark, dirty place.
Right.
All right, sure, go exchange that energy. But then when it comes to the point where it's like you're giving like a part of you that you're excreting, that you're letting out, that's your energy, that's your chi, that's your life force, that you're just letting go and you're throwing it out.
Right.
And you don't need to be doing that. That shit creates lives. And it's like, on one hand, like, I know it's like, yo, like, you're talking about calm, like, that's, come on, bro, it's not that godly.
But the thing is,
it really is, though. And the same way with a woman's body. It's like, and that's one of the reasons that, like, retention is such an important thing that I've read about and they've talked about, is, like, until the point where, like, you guys want to have kids, you should do your level best to not, because it'll be, in the long run, it builds fertility, it builds stamina, it gives you, it unlocks so many doors for you that you wouldn't have opened before, because one, in the society that we live in, especially living in a Western society, everything is hypersexualized. Everything. So it's like, when you're in everything that we see and do in some way or the other, if we have that in the back of our minds, when you come, like, imagine, like, that's like some next level detox shit. That's like saying, yo, I'm quitting cigs cold turkey.
Okay.
And that's the kind of detox that you're gonna go through. And I think, like, I just feel like it's really important to, like, at least acknowledge that. I'm not saying do it, like, I don't care what you do, like, do what you have to do, but, like, at least acknowledge that and like, be mindful, because and at the end of the day, it's only gonna benefit you.
And I think
energy,
going back to habit and choice, is like, what is it, a habit though? What is it, the habit that people have, or is it the choice? Because personally, I feel like when it comes, like, why this person was feeling this way is because of a habit, not because of a choice. I don't think it was the choice.
Or do you think, wait, did they already have a habit? Or was it that they didn't have a habit, but they made this choice to do this?
I don't think the act of this person doing that was the choice or habit that allowed this person to feel upset about themselves. I think it's the habit of feeling this way about themselves over the choice that they made. It could have been anything.
Right, but see, at the same time,
it could have been anything they did, and they find anything to make them feel bad. Not this person specifically, but many of us just using this person as an example.
I'm saying,
like, it's the habit of feeling this, like, for real. Now, this is what I'm trying to say. It's like, most choices are made out of emotion. Yes. You have to move. And, like, every emotion drives you to make a choice, right? Mm-hmm. Now, there are choices that we make, but the habit is the feeling that drives the choices.
Yes. But
you understand? You
get what I'm saying? But
so,
at
like,
the same
so what
time,
I'm saying
the
is,
only
like,
thing I would say to that,
what I'm saying is, like, feeling.
Yeah.
Hold on. What I'm saying is feeling is the drive. Mm-hmm. You know, yes. Feeling is the drive.
Feeling is what
and
motivates.
Feeling is the habit.
The choice. Yeah.
Like that. Like, understand that our feelings are a habit. Mm-hmm. Happiness. People who are happy are driven in a certain way. People who are sad are driven in a certain way. Right. So the choices, ultimately, that's what we want to be happy, right? And those are the ultimate two feelings, like happiness and sadness. Like, you call it love and fear or whatever. But happiness and sadness, like, that is it. Yeah. So, like, happiness is going to drive you. Your drive for happiness, that feeling of immediate happiness that's making you want more, is driving you. Those are ultimately the choices that's going to lead us to, that's the potential. That's like unleashing and letting go, and just, if you sing. If you good at computers, do it. Right. Or just let go, quit your job and start a business. Like, that feeling of happiness is what drives us mostly. Even people who suffered in some way, when they find that it's, like when they get there, when they you know what I'm saying? Like,
no, I know what you're
and
saying.
sometimes that suffering they look at in the moment as a happy because they're not there in that appreciation. So that happiness is the drive, and that's the habit I'm talking about.
Right.
So like most people are either who are not doing what they want to do, or most people who are doing what they want to do, again, but are lacking certain things, or not growing in certain areas that they might need, and that'll bring them down later. There are many of us who just skyrocketed, and many of us who just stuck, and many of us who like go and believe in certain things, and we need to come back and learn everything. What's the important? Because that's where we want to go.
But that's part of the process.
What's the thing though? The habit or the choice? You feel me? So like, what wins? You feel me?
But here's the thing. I don't think one has to win at the same time. I think that they can also support each other, because you're right, 100%. It's the habit that drives the feeling behind making that choice, right?
So like, how do we heal that habit?
But here's the thing. The habit that you have created was a choice that you made.
It stemmed from the choice.
So it's like it boils. It all. It's like, did the egg come first or did the chicken come first?
The egg first. What you talking about?
That's it. So choice is your egg. Choice is that. Choice was like, yo.
Nah, the habit is the egg. No. All the way.
I'll go with mutually exclusive.
Let me tell you why. Listen, I'm gonna flip it on you real quick. I'm gonna tell you why real quick. Because imagine this.
Yes.
Imagine existence. You want to talk existence.
Yes.
We're all spiritual beings, right?
Yes. Yes,
so,
we are.
Here I'm going. Just existence. You want to talk about, what are we doing? Are we, we're spiritual beings, or we're just bodies? The choice is the body. The spirit is the habit. Spirit was always here. Our bodies come and go.
Yes.
So that feeling, the spirit, like that habit is the spirit. Choice is the physical manifestation of the spirit. That's how I feel. Like,
see, now you got it. See, that makes sense.
Because we always want to be what we can.
Yes.
But the choices are based on that, and what we have to do from youth is build habits in these children. Choice is always there, but we're not giving we don't grow up with the sort of habits we need to actually fulfill our potential.
Yes.
And like I feel like it's on us right now to develop habits, and we teach each other habits intrinsically, by just being. And these are the people who are CEOs. These are the people who are business starters.
Yes.
It's choices. It's regular. And I feel like, what I'm saying? We talk choice. But nobody talks habit out here too much. And from the people we see, nobody's talking habit.
Building the right
habits, skills, principles, morals, values, purposes. These are the things that outweigh knowledge any day.
I agree. No, I agree with that completely.
I feel like knowledge and choice, what?
I agree. No,
I can't.
I'm not going to argue with that, because there's nothing
that's
to
why
argue
I feel
with.
we need
I
to go.
agree with that completely. For a fact, I agree with that.
Because we you want to binge. You want to binge Netflix. That's a habit. Great, but you could also. What are you watching on there? You could be watching stuff about the stocks. And you could be watching stuff about motivation. You could be watching stuff about information you want to do for your own documentary. You want to make your own film. You want to do your own film. You could go in there and use it. Use it. Something you're using. Because you're using it.
Take the positive out of these experiences that we have.
If you're watching Power, but you are also using you also an Instagram influencer. You do comedy, but you're using Power skits, and then you're blowing up off reinterpreting. You using that. I ain't hating on Netflix binges, but if you just chilling and you ain't getting nothing done, it's like it's whatever. I'm just speaking on like habit.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel like. There's nothing wrong with the habit if you can use the habit in a way to allow you to grow.
Yes.
But if there's things that's not allowing us to grow,
But then at that point is when habit turns into taking a choice,
to
and then making a step of which direction am I taking it? Yes. One sec, sorry, my mom.
No doubt. So it's
Damn,
my time
bro.
to brag.
I'm about to catch a flight, like 13 hours type.
Right.
Word.
Packers. So,
Pakistan, yeah.
Packers.
Ooh. Yeah,
So.
it's gonna be fun. Pray for me.
So yeah.
Hope I come back in one piece.
And that's, so I'm gonna take the belt on that. I feel like I won. Have it be
You did.
choice.
Okay, listen,
And I
there's
had
no
to
need
flip
to
it on
get
the
cocky.
spirit.
You could
I
just
ain't
be
trying to
nice.
get cocky. I'm just
Or
having
we
fun.
could just say,
You could say you won too.
alright, you know what? I did win.
Yeah, like
I did win
didn't,
because you know why?
helped
I
me out.
learned something.
And you backed me up.
And I did back you up. That is
backed
true.
me up. You ain't be like nah.
We winners.
You was
No,
like,
but it's a fact. I learned something, and I agreed with the point that you made, because at the end of it, that line that you said about physical, like choices being your physical manifestations of the spirit, I 100% agree with that.
Right.
And like everything you said after that, totally yes. So we both won. Yeah.
So do you have that vision of like, what do you your children?
My children.
Because you mentioned something earlier about you can't you can't necessarily see the future. Like I can't see the future, but in a way it's like, can you, or do you exercise that? Is that a habit?
Yes, I do. Definitely.
Is that one of your habits? You look into the future, you see your children and the way you want this and the way you want that.
I try to balance it out, because the kind of person that I am, regardless of what I do in my life, I try to seek balance. Because I think, for me personally, that balance is the way the universe works, the way the world works. It is the law of nature, man, animal, inanimate objects, real life objects, things with spirit, everything. Everything is about and boils down to balance. You have to have the right amount of fucking protons in this cup and nuclear matter and blah, 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 and it balances out to make a perfect cup. So at the end of the day, it's all about balance. And now that going into when I think about my future and think about my life and what I want and what I want to do, I'm balanced with that. There are times when I'm like, okay, you know what? I need to think. I need to manifest. I wanna have an idea. I wanna take a peek. I wanna see what it is that I really want. What is it that I at this moment in time project that I may want? Let's say 5 years from now. Not necessarily that I'm gonna want it, but let's take a look. And I do that. And then there are other times where I'm like, you know what? Scratch the long term. I need to focus on right now.
Yeah.
I need to be, what am I doing in the next 2 days? What am I doing in the week? What are my goals? How am I changing my mindset? Because it's not always about the long term. It's not always about the short term. It's about balancing them out and finding what's right for you and what you need at that moment in time. And what you need is always going to be changing. So you have to be able to adapt with that and change with that. Not necessarily for anyone else or for, bettering anyone else, but just for your own contentment, peace of mind, and like for you to be okay and for you to be comfortable and for you to do the things that you really actually want to do.
Yeah. No doubt. So yeah. I think it is about balance all the way, but I feel like your perspective of balance. I'm trying to figure out exactly what do you mean by, because you struck on it very well, but what I'm trying to apply to like what we do on a daily basis. You good? I'm trying to apply with what we do on a daily basis, like.
I think we have to reach for balance. We have to reach for that point where, in our decisions, because there's sometimes when we're going to hit extremes. There's sometimes when we're going to be so happy and we're going to make those decisions based on those feelings. Sometimes we're going to be so sad or so angry and we're going to make decisions based on those feelings. And there's sometimes when we're just not going to give a fuck and we're going to make decisions based on those feelings. And when I say decisions, I don't just mean what job am I going to take. I mean every day from like what clothes am I gonna wear to like what am I gonna think about today? Like you're constantly making decisions. The thoughts that you give yourself are your choices, you know. And whether you detach yourself from them, whether you attach yourself to them, whether you change them, that's all up to you. Those are your choices. So when I say that we should strive for balance and we should reach for balance, is that in whatever decision, whenever that light bulb clicks in your mind and you get awareness and you're like, wait, I'm being mindful right now. Hey, I'm not gonna try to do the right, I'm not gonna try to do the wrong. I'm gonna try to do exactly what needs to be done. And I think exactly what is needed is always a little bit of both. It boils down to it's what's needed because it'll balance everything out. It'll keep it where it needs to be.
Okay, and that's why earlier you said you want to flow. Okay. Flow with it.
I flow with the frequency. I put my energy out there, and then, like the wavelength that my brain is radiating at, like I'm just putting that shit out there constantly. If you pick up on it.
I think that's something I need to work on. It's like the flow part.
Yes.
You know, I'm a Capricorn.
Control is something that a lot of people, and I don't mean to stereotype, but in just at the moment in my personal life, a lot of men that I have met have been having this problem of letting go and feeling this need of control and not really being able to reach that balance and kind of wanting that. And I'm not sure why. I don't really have any theories about it because it's kind of something I've picked on in the last couple of weeks that I've kind of been like, I've been paying extra attention. I'm like, who's telling me what? Let's see. Right. And now that you say that, it is funny to me because, yeah, I have noticed that. And I'm not sure if maybe it's just a societal thing, maybe it's just an age group thing, maybe it's a guy thing, maybe
I think, personally, I think it's a you thing, personally. Not like,
I'm attracting that energy.
I don't know. Maybe. I think that's ultimately what everything is.
Yeah,
like all our experience is a you thing.
Definitely.
But whatever knowledge we know, that's how we explain it. So you're explaining it as maybe it's this thing. It's like, but I think it's something you personally, might have to like. I think I just posted on my Instagram and I was like, it was a quote that
right.
I know that there's some way I could change. Like I know there's something I can do to change.
Right.
And one of my captions was like, if there's something in my life that is bothering me or affecting me, what can I do to change so that it doesn't bother me and affect me anymore? So I always think our issues is a you thing. Like it's like it's always so like I ain't trying to come at you like, like I don't know if it's
No. Yeah.
And that's ultimately what I was trying to get at too when I say like habits, because the habit, when I say that's something I need to work on, I wasn't speaking from like control. I was speaking from like the habit of flowing, because it's like sometimes I feel like if people out there suffering from depression.
Yes.
People out there suffering.
I know, trust me.
I've been there. So there's people out there suffering from like indecision and procrastination and just or just every day going into a state of sadness and dread and regret every day, to the point where they're not like making the choice anymore.
No,
their body's just going in it like muscle memory.
Trust
so like
me when I
whatever
tell you
like
that I have
so there's people who just used to being sad, like they're talented at it.
Honestly,
now, so it's like that's one of their talents now.
Here's the thing. I'll be honest with you and I'll tell you something personal.
And control, hold on, but control might be one of those things. Like that someone has had, but I'm also talking about just the emotion that's driving control is what we need to make the habit of dealing with.
Yes.
So that that's why when you mentioned control earlier with that situation, I was like, what's the background? You know what I'm saying? Like because what's the habit that got him even? We talked about that was like so like it's not even that. It's ain't even a problem.
Yeah.
It ain't even a problem. He don't even think that's a problem. He thinks he's
getting
he's something.
Right.
He thinks he's getting.
In your mind, it's justified. Yeah.
Yeah, he thinks he's like doing the right thing in the moment.
Right.
And that is like that balance you talk of. That's why I'm like balance. I'm like, hold on, because like that's the balance to him.
Yes.
In that moment, he's balancing himself out.
Yeah.
And to you, the communication might create an imbalance. But in the moment, that's what's balancing.
That's
him. So like every moment we're balancing ourselves out, literally. Mm-hmm. So like it's not really like you know, if I'm getting
But
angry
not
in that moment, I'm
necessarily,
valid.
because
Yes,
here's the
because
thing.
it's the habit that's allowing us to feel that.
But here's the thing.
Every moment we think we're right.
Consciously
like every moment. In the moment right now, if I scream at you and I'm mad,
you're gonna,
in 5 minutes, if I feel bad, in the moment I think feeling bad is right. You know, it's not like it's the energy of feeling bad is right instead of I'm feeling bad. Like, you know, what we think is right is what we're doing every moment.
Yeah.
You know, so the person I was speaking to earlier was feeling bad about themselves, and they thought that feeling bad was right. Like you said, they want other people to be bad, feel bad with them, feel bad about them. And that's what this person wanted. They literally was like, that was bad, right? And I'm like, no.
Thing is, aside from seeking that, what we also know is that if your conscience sparks something up in you, and masturbate, if your conscience is telling you, bro, don't play with yourself, don't play with yourself. Because if you're telling, then that means that there's something in your life, in your mind, in your soul that has guided you in this life path.
You might not should have
You
been
might
doing
not,
it.
maybe because of your beliefs, maybe because that's your path in life. That's where you're at.
But what I'm saying is, like,
so
don't wake up the next day.
No, I'm not saying don't be tight and be like, yo, why the like,
are you talking to a stranger
get
mad
this shit
about it and inviting me to feel bad about you?
Definitely.
You know, like, or whatever, like.
No,
that's what people do though. What
yeah,
people
they do
is they regret things, and by the time you get into a relationship with them,
tell me now. You get together with a group of your old friends, right? Like maybe someone you haven't seen for maybe a month or 2 months. Let's say 2 months. You're like, like we're gonna catch up, we're gonna sit down, we're gonna chill, we'll have food, we'll safe, whatever, let's go. You're all so we're all sitting, right? And you're talking. Now it starts off with, hey, what have you guys been up to? Like, what's going on? Okay, yeah, I've been working, I've been going to school, all right, Then, let's be honest. For me, in my just observation, not even personally ever being involved in conversation, just sitting and observing people in my surroundings, 98 or 99% of these conversations go from yep, school, great, life is fine, to, yo, I'm tired of this, and the weather is terrible, and I hate this, and this shit sucks, and this, and blah, 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 blah. And then it's just, then everyone's sitting around, and, alright, everyone's taking their turn, and we're all having a pity party.
Yeah,
for what?
That happens a lot.
For what?
It could just mention one thing, and then it...
it's not...
But, and I think it's the habit. And I think there needs to be some people sometimes who have the habit of being like, yo, I'm motherfuckers tripping.
Yeah.
We need to appreciate shit some more. Relax. We ain't even gotta be complaining right now. Like
100%.
Let's appreciate a little more real quick. Like, about this.
Yeah.
That needs to be a habit. Appreciation and grace.
Yes.
And this is for me. I'm speaking for myself as a man. And that's what I think would allow me to sometimes flow. Because sometimes I'm just like, I don't want to be here. I'm chilling. And when I could just be like, alright, let me enjoy something. You know, sometimes, like, I go places and I'm upset. But I'm going for a purpose. And when, you know, like, I might go somewhere to perform, and then once I perform, I'm ready to go. But it's like, and then I stay because I feel obligated to, and then I'll be like, I don't want to. But then what I'm learning now is to appreciate where I'm at more. Appreciate my environment more. Appreciate the people in my life more. Don't always try to look at their flaws. You know, and I think that is what happiness is about, you know. So let's end this real quick. But I just want to say, like, that's what I think happiness in these habits are about. Like, we need to learn how to make feeling happy, appreciating, and, you know, and being grateful for life a habit. Like, personally, you know, I've been there. I've been one of the people who's complaining. Sometimes I might complain. So, like, I want to work on that too. Like, I want to work, because obviously if I end up in there, it's like the energy is going to, so it's just like, we, you know, sometimes we just get to talking about, you know, a lot of times we talk about conscious stuff, we just complain, stuff like that, you know, like, oh, this going on in the world, and we get to start complaining. And that's what a lot of open mics too, when you go out, you know, people complaining all the time, and it becomes like a pity open mic.
So, like,
and you know, like, a lot of the
Yeah.
poetry, slams and stuff like that. Not to diss nobody, but to me, it felt like it'd be like the saddest poem wins.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's rare when you get like some.
You know what's
some
crazy?
Hot, just some generally
Just
hot.
some fire.
You know what hot joint is on top.
I went to an open
Saddest
mic
one.
the other night with Cycle and Gaston. Yeah, and we pulled up. It was somewhere in the city, and now, mind you, like we got there and we were all just kind of apprehensive because we were just like, what kind of vibe is this? Like, we were trying to feel it out.
Sad fest?
It wasn't. It was that, and it was also like uptown white people type. Like, so we were just kind of like, okay, what kind of vibe are we projecting? Like, how is this gonna go? But anyways, they called me up. So I was like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna just go. I'm gonna do the same. I did the same piece that I did that night, but I performed it in a completely different way. Cause I was like, you know what? This is not the same audience. This is not gonna go the same way. But I performed it. Yeah, and I performed it. But the same energy that was in that room on Thursday night is the same energy I got there, and that shit literally once again blew my mind. Cause I'm standing there and I'm like reading, and this time I was like looking up on purpose, making eye contact with people to see like what's going through. The entire bar went quiet, and I come back and like 2-3 people come up and they're like, yo, like no one went quiet for anyone else the way they did for you. That was valid. You're great. And I was like, yo, like, not even to say anything any type of way, but that made me feel great. I was like, yo, I did that. And it's like, so at the end of the day, you have that power. You have that.
Change your environment.
You have that energy. And it's like, you can manifest whatever the fuck you want. You just have to believe in yourself. And again, you gotta let go at the end of the day.
One rule I don't believe in is one mic. I don't believe in that. I'm not the type like one mic, I'm on the mic.
Yeah.
I feel like, and I feel like it's not a cosmic thing. It's just a habit that I've developed. Like I feel like if I'm spitting, like I'm gonna quiet things down. I feel like I have that same power. Like I hustle on the train. So like I go in the car. Most hustlers they're like, but most people when they see the hustle, they this
Facts.
and then. But when I come on, I ain't even. I start playing and it's like, head. I see heads, and then I start singing. Then it's like,
because it's that energy that you put out, and you. Yes.
So it's like I'm not gonna be on this train playing around.
Facts.
So I think the last day I hustled on the train was like, I don't know, what's today?
Today's.
I think I hustled Saturday.
Tuesday.
That was fun. It would be mad fun.
Facts.
I used to go every day, and now I go like 1-2 days out of the week, usually weekends.
Yeah.
And I think that is really fun. I stopped doing it because I was bruising up my hands.
Yeah.
But I think just to top it off, it was a habit that I was doing every day, and I had to switch up my habits so I could do other things like this. So much love, y'all. I hope y'all appreciate our habits versus choice conversation.
It was a great convo.
And I hope y'all understand what we're saying, because I feel like it's very. It's very everywhere, but we was hitting y'all with some stuff you have to take. You feel me? Understand, that your choices are every day. You need to. It's one choice that what she was trying to say. Is like every one choice could lead to some other, myriad of choices somewhere. And I'm like, yeah, but your habits got to be on point. So when that choice you make, you get where your habits are right. So you get it, your choices, and one choice could lead to 1,000, but throughout these 1,000, your habits got to be on point, so we make these choices responsibly. With that being said, I hope y'all felt some of that, and we understand that, because that's what happiness is, a choice.
Yep, 100%.
Sadness is a choice.
It is.
Happiness is a habit. Sadness is a habit. They're both the same thing. You're choosing to be happy in the moment, but your habit also.
Of which habit you want to build.
Yeah. So, I hope y'all get it. Like
make
every day, like you gotta
make the right choice, yo.
If you wake up and like say, I don't know, do something that makes you happy and say happy things. I don't know. If you get into a feeling, a habit that makes you happy, you continue to build on that, like, and build on.
Tell yourself you're happy,
and
and
even
you will
the
become
things,
happy.
the habits that make you sad, sometimes we don't go back and work on those. We have to work on those. That's the trauma in the past, things that you build on that you take with other people. This habits, this past things that I need to work on, that I'm working on right now.
You transfer that energy onto someone else. And you don't need to be doing that because other people don't need your trauma. They have their own.
That's it.
So let's make lives for each other easier.
Let's work on ourselves.
Heal yourself.
Work on ourselves.
Heal yourself.
Work on ourselves. Like, all right, so hold on. Before we go, tell them where they can find you.
Oh, yes. Okay, at YUNGHIJABAE. Young Hijabi.
Young Hijabi. I'm Quindell Evans. BluePoetTree.com. Blue's the color of dream. Poet is the orator and scribe. Trees are what keeps us alive. BluePoetTree.com.
BluePoetTree.com.
If you don't know, you're about to know right now. You're about to learn. Education. Thumbs up, Blue Poetry Podcast. I appreciate y'all for listening. Thumbs up, 5 likes.
Thank you.
Whatever you got to do. You feel me?
Do it all.
Yeah.
Facts. Thank you. Bye.